Hi, this is Maggie. Thank you for stopping by Crafts the Charm today. I'm so glad you're here. So a couple of years ago, I got this needle felting kit as a gift, and I've played around with it a little bit. I've really only made one thing with it so far, and that's this loth-cat. And if you don't know what a loth-cat is, then, well, this is a perfect one. This looks just like what a loth-cat looks like. What I want to make today is a little hedgehog, and this is an accessory for a craft that I have coming up in a couple of weeks. So I'm going to begin with some yarn, and I'm just going to take this yarn and wrap it into a ball, and this is just acrylic yarn from the Dollar Tree, but I want to get sort of a starter shape for my hedgehog. Now I have a large bag of wool roving, which I think is undyed. It's sort of like raw wool roving, and it's sort of an off-white color. So I'm going to cover the ball with the off-white wool roving, and I'm going to needle felt that onto the ball. So if you haven't needle felted before, what you do is you take this needle, and it's not an ordinary needle. It has barbs on it, I guess. And with needle felting, the idea is that you're twisting the fibers together and combining them and matting them down. It almost feels like magic. Like I said, I really haven't done this very much and I'm not very good at it, but I think I can still make something that's passable with some patience and maybe one or two attempts. So I also have these finger cots, and I don't use them very often, but I am going to start with them on my finger and my thumb because I have stabbed myself with this needle before and it hurts. So I am trying to be mindful and careful, but when I'm just first putting this down, I am going to have to hold the ball with both fingers, and I'm not sure I can hold it carefully, so I'm going to wear the finger cots at first. And with the needle felting, you just basically stab up and down anywhere that it doesn't look matted. And you can also stab to shape it. So once I have this basic ball covered, I'm going to add the wool roving to one end to try to make the hedgehog's nose. So what I want is basically a roundish ball with a pointy nose on one side. And so I'll just keep adding the wool roving and felt it with my needle until I have a shape that looks about right to me. And here's what that looks like so far. Now I only have a couple of brown wools that came with my kit, and I'm going to try to use mostly what came with my kit. So I'm going to use one of these brown colors and put it around the hedgehog body, but leave the face the off-white. I should have left the tummy off-white. So if you're going to do this, I'd say decide which side is going to be the top of your hedgehog and only do the top of the hedgehog and the back of him, but leave his belly off-white. Now for his ears, I just cut two little ears out of some brown felt, and I'm going to position those on either side of his face. And I made them a little bit taller than I thought they needed to be because I wasn't sure how much of the felt would end up pressed into the hedgehog when I needle felted it on. So I felted it on by pressing along the edge of the felt, and then once it was secured, I pointed the ear up and needled along the back of it a little bit so that it would stand up and be well secured, and then I trimmed off the top of the ears. Now, I don't like the positioning of the ears as I have them, so what I will end up doing is moving them a little bit further out to the side of the hedgehog, and it's pretty easy to pull them off. Then I took some black roving and just a tiny piece, rolled it into a ball with my fingers, and then felted that on the front for a nose. And I did something similar. I took very tiny pieces of black roving, rolled them in my fingers, and felted them around the nose to be his eyes. And here you can see I decided to undo my mistake somewhat, and I took some of the off-white and felted it around where his tummy is on the bottom. But with the real hedgehog, I think really the face felt goes all the way down over the tummy, so I really shouldn't have any brown on the tummy at all. Now, my final dilemma was how to do the little hedgehog spikes, and I thought of a couple of different solutions, but this one I think is what came out the best and was the easiest to do. So I have this Dollar Tree yarn called Greige Tweed, and the yarn itself actually kind of looks like hedgehog spikes because if you pull it apart, it's almost striped in these different colors that looks like pictures that I've seen of hedgehog spikes. So what I did was I cut this yarn in straight pieces and I needle felted it onto the hedgehog, basically going from front to back. So I kept the direction of the yarn the same all along the brown parts of the hedgehog. I just cut the yarn, sort of split it apart, and felted it onto the hedgehog. And I just went over the whole brown body that way. And I feel like the final result gives a pretty good hedgehog look. So that's it. There's my little hedgehog, and I look forward to showing you a complete project in which the hedgehog is an accessory. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have any tips for me on needle felting, as I am a novice, I would enjoy hearing them. Thank you for spending time with me today. Take care.